Hello, it's Katie. This isn't a card. I just wanted to, you'll probably be able to tell by whatever title I give this that it's not a card. But I just wanted to show you kind of how to do this, which is like the die cut inlay. I don't know if this is going to focus. How I would do it. Jennifer McGuire posted a video recently and I watched it, and while I wasn't paying a lot of attention, it seemed more complicated than it needed to be. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's fine. I think it involved things I might not even own. I'm not sure. Anyway, I'll watch it again. I'll give it another chance. But sometimes when I see something, it's really hard for me in my brain to figure out how I would do it. Sometimes it's so hard to wrap my head around it that I can't even think. I actually have to just start trying stuff. And so I decided to do that this morning. I'm actually sick and on a lot of Dayquil, but I wanted to sit down and do something, and then I thought, why not just show you how to do this a little bit simpler, I think, than how she did it. So this is just an example. I didn't mean to go for pink on brown. I was just using paper that was nearby because it was a test. I was trying to figure out how to do it. I'll just use the same paper because it worked, and I want to show you how to do this. So what I did was I had my, I'm gonna set that aside. I had my die cut machine and I used, I have craft pink, and then I actually have white printer paper. And so I cut a heart out of the craft paper first. So I'll trim around this and then die cut that. And then hopefully this isn't shaking if you've seen my videos, or this is, I think, one video I showed you how my camera is set up. It's my phone and it's on yardsticks. So it is touching things that are touching the table, so it tends to shake. Then we're going to cut that same heart out of just printer paper. This isn't even cardstock, it's just very thin printer paper, which is meant to be kind of our backing that is going to still be a whole heart that will hold kind of all the paper to it so that it can still be this, this whole piece that I showed you. So we have that. I always push my dies through and then back to kind of double cut them. This probably wasn't necessary because it's printer paper, but it's just a habit. So yeah, anyway, so we'll leave this white one. I'll set that aside. Then you take your die. I just use this as an example. This is the big hello from Simon Says Stamp. Just kind of place it where it would look good. I'll try and move this up a little bit. Where it would look good in the heart. This is kind of about where I did it. And then we'll just cut it out. It's heavy enough to where I don't need to stick that down with a Post-it note. I know it's just going to stay where I want it to. If you're cutting out stuff that you've stamped and you're using the matching die cut, that's when I would use a Post-it note to make sure it doesn't move or wiggle, but that was fine. So I have this whole thing. I'm going to leave this alone for now and just leave that there. Then we're cutting the hello out of some pink cardstock. So I will make sure it's centered on there somewhat. Cut that out of the pink. Try not to wiggle, you guys. Okay. So I double backed on that one too, and the whole thing stuck to, sometimes I just use the paper to kind of scoop up the die if it sticks. Okay. So we've got all the pieces cut that we need. I will put that guy back. We have this piece, those, and our white printer paper. So we don't need the inside. I'll leave this as kind of a side example. We don't need the inside pink pieces. We're going to be keeping the insides of the letters and these little pieces these little side pieces here too of the brown over here, so we don't want to throw those away. Okay, and we're keeping the top and the bottom of this brown heart as kind of a puzzle piece. So these pieces, I'm going to take them out, these little middle pieces, and leave them out in order and direction that they are facing, so I don't lose them or mix them up. Hopefully you can see it's craft on my craft paper mat thing, but hopefully that's okay. We still need that top part. I'll get that in a second. So then I have that, and then we actually are still going to have these two little pieces. I'm going to leave them in there for now because they're very small, but I have tweezers that I will use to put those in later. I will leave my sample in the upper left corner. Okay, so we need the bottom piece, and we need to get rid of these letters, and the top piece, our puzzle pieces here. The first thing you're going to do is take a tape runner of whatever sort you prefer, and I could probably do better with a little handheld one, honestly. Since this is printer paper, you want to make sure you support it while you're pulling, because you will easily rip the paper or bend it or mess it up. I got cat hair in the last one, but you can't see that because it's underneath now. Lots of things are going to stick to it because we're trying to cover the entire surface because we have to stick everything to it. You want to cover the entire surface with adhesive. You could use a thin layer of your favorite glue if you don't have a tape runner or you don't like tape runners. I know many people who actually just use glue sticks or prefer glue. I don't tend to need to reposition things. I'm not saying I don't make mistakes ever on cards. It's just that I tend to place things where I want them and I'm not gonna change my mind, or I don't need room for error, so I use a tape runner. A lot of people I know use liquid glue because they want to be able to move something around in case it's not right or not centered, which is fine. So I'm just covering the entire surface of the heart while being careful holding the paper with my adhesive. Okay, I'll set that up here so it's out of the way. Okay, so we still have our example here. So what I'm going to do first is stick the bottom on. You're just matching the heart, basically. Okay, and you're going to stick to it. So get over that now. I did the bottom, and then I did the word, and then I did the top. So there might be some, this paper was a little thick, I think. There might be some parts or edges you can kind of scrape off. But this one turned out fine. I mean, it kind of gets covered up a little bit, so if you want to scrape off the little edges, then that's fine. But just be careful when you're placing. Might be where some of you prefer glue. It's just going to be like a puzzle. And you want to make sure to push it in to its crevices and then let it hang loose so that it goes to its natural position, and stick that part down. Then we're going to get some of the little pieces off of here. Then we're going to take this part and fit it into where it goes. And it's good to just kind of focus on the letter portion because the rest will fill itself out. Okay, then we just have our pieces to stick in. So we've got that piece, press it down, press all of that down. Take this little guy, stick it in there. You can see where it covers up the little pink shavings if you have any of those. They kind of mash into each other anyway. And then puzzle piece that one, the inside of the top of the O. Then I just kind of grab these pieces out with the tweezers and push those where they belong. And this is where it's important that you have covered the entire white back with adhesive, because even the tiny pieces need glue. If you did miss a spot, you can always dab a dot of glue in there before you stick it in. But then you have your inlaid piece that you can, put some dimension on the back and stick it up on a card, however you want to do it. This could turn into a card very easily. And if you have any white remaining, just follow along where you can and trim it off, and then it will look just fine, so you don't have to worry about that part. But in the end, I think this was just easier for my brain to comprehend when it comes to inlay. Like I said, I'll watch her video again. It was pretty recent, I think. She's been trying to get back into her crafting mode, so that was one of the things that she showed. But then you have a piece, if you want to just make a bunch of them, if you're, you know, having a hard time putting something together as a whole card, but you have enough brain power to want to make something, then you can set these aside and put them on a card later. But yeah, I just wanted to show you how I would have gone about die cut inlay. So hopefully that helped some of you, and I will hopefully have a third Valentine's card soon, maybe when I'm feeling better, this week or something like that. Thank you for watching. Bye.